When you're getting into sports photography, you will hear professionals always telling you, do not shoot in auto mode. Do not let the camera decide what to do and how to do it. But they never tell you why. Why can't you let the camera, who has this brain that is incredible, decide your settings? Well, when I come back, I'm going to show you examples of what happens when you let your camera take control. Hey friends, Craig here. Now, if this is your first time visiting and you want to learn more about sports photography, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when my new videos are coming out. All right, so let's jump right into this whole video. The professionals are always telling you, do not shoot auto. Don't let the camera decide, but they never tell you or show you why it's bad to let your camera decide when you're shooting sports photography. Well, I got some photos here, two different cameras, the Nikon D7200 and the Sony A6000. I went to a volleyball game recently and I put both those cameras in sports mode, sports scene mode. It might be different on different cameras, but I let the camera decide everything. Everything from focusing to aperture to shutter speed, and the results pretty much what I expected, except for the A6000 did surprise me a little. Let's take a look at some photos. We are going to start with the Nikon D7200 in full auto mode. The camera decided everything. All right, first photo up, as you can see, right in front of you right there, she is blurry. They're kind of in focus, but she is definitely blurry, should not be blurry. Now let's jump to this photo right here. This is a good one. And just so you know, I am using the Windows Photo app, kind of similar to the old Windows Photo Viewer, because some people don't have Lightroom. And this way a lot of people can keep up with what's going on. So we got the serve going on right here, and if you take a look at it, not focused, and down here you can see it looks a little blurry, a little motion blur. The ball is definitely not stationary. It's moving around a little bit too much, and it's all nice and blurry. It's just not good focus. So let's find out why that happened. So you go to file info, and if you look over here, and obviously it's a little dark as well, ISO 1600, way too low. ISO should be way up there, probably close to you, and this is the D7200, probably close to 5,000. Now the biggest problem is this right here. This is the shutter speed. Oh wait, before we get to that, look, it did select f2.8, which is my lens. That's good. Okay, back to the shutter speed. 1/160th of a second. Now the problem with that is a very slow shutter speed. When you're shooting action, you need to be a lot higher. I would say for this, the minimum you should go here is 500, and even that is probably a little too slow. You probably should go to 6/40th at the minimum probably, but you can probably get away with 500 depending on exactly what's happened. And if you caught this image at just the right spot, you would be okay at 1/500th of a second. All right, let's move on to another photo. Here we go again. She's still serving, and you can see the settings didn't change, and you can see a lot of motion blur. Really bad. It's not sharp at all. A little motion blur sometimes is okay. This is way too much, I think. Again, you can see motion blur on the ball. Hey, they're kind of in focus. That's pretty good. That's a lot better. Still 1/60th of a second. That is why you're getting that motion blur. Again, you can see the problems. Don't really need to belabor the fact that these settings are totally wrong. Like I mentioned, this should be at the minimum 1/500th of a second. ISO should be, like I said, on the D7200, probably close to 5,000. Give you some more light. And again, I'll say, now this one's not bad. Look at this. It kind of got it right. That's still too slow. But the reason it's okay, because you're kind of at the peak action. They're kind of at the top of their jump. You can see the motion blur there. So that was not too bad. So this one you could probably, let's just go and edit it real fast. Let's just do this. Let's see how much this clears it up. So see, that one ended up not being too bad. All right, undo. Let's go back to the photos. Now this one here is not bad because everything's at the peak. She's stopping and waiting for the ball. The ball is at its peak. It's about to drop back down. So this one actually isn't bad for that reason. It's a stationary object. But as you can see, it's coming down now and everything's blurry again. And that's all those. Now let's take a look at the A6000, which truthfully surprised me. Start with the first photo. You've seen similar ones on the D7200. It's actually in focus. It's too dark. Let's check the settings real fast. File info. This is what's interesting. ISO is 3200, which is acceptable for this camera. I'd probably go a little bit higher. 1/1250th of a second at f2. It's an f1.8 lens. So that's good. That will freeze the action, and you can see it's frozen the action. So you can go like this. You can edit this one. It's too dark still. But if you did that, you can see it's not too bad. I'd still lighten it up a little bit more, but it's not bad. All right, let's go back. Here we have her again. Oh, there's the one I want to see. Now you know there's some major action going on. She is swinging that hard, and it is frozen pretty good. And look at the shutter speed. 1/1600th of a second. That freezes the action. Now the problem with it going that high at f2, you can see it's too dark. Let's go back. If you look at this one's a little bit lighter than this one. This one's a little darker. This needed to go up, or that needed to be dropped to 1.8. And there you go. It's still moving through cleanly all the way through the set. Now this was an interesting shot. There's two of them here. A lot of action happening, and the camera knew, somehow it knew what was going on, and it really needed to freeze everything, which it did. It's a cool looking shot. It's too dark because of the high shutter speed. This should have been back down to f1.8. This should be up to around 5,000 probably, maybe 4,000. We'll see. But watch this. Let's see if we can fix this one though, because we don't have any motion blur, which is really good. So we can probably adjust this one to where, see, it's not looking too bad there. I could live with that. I think the kids would. I think parents would enjoy that shot. And it continues through. It keeps a nice high shutter speed, which helps freeze the action. Now this one's pretty stationary, so it drops the shutter speed down to 1/1000th of a second. Moving along, same thing at 1/800th. Somehow it knew there wasn't much action going on, and it got even lower. It's pretty good that it knew how to do that. You know, let's look at this again here. It's an action shot, so it has the shutter speed way up there, and then we get to these shots here. There's not much going on, and it drops it, which is really good. There's another good action shot. A little bit of blur right there, which isn't terrible, but everything else looks okay. Again, this should be up higher, I would say, and I would drop the, since this can shoot at f1.8, I'd be at f1.8. I'll just kind of roll through those couple photos. Another good one. See, it's up there good enough to stop the action. See, the ball's frozen. And just keep moving on through. That one, it missed completely. That was probably user error. That was probably me. Okay, let's just zoom through some of these now that you know what we're looking at, what we're looking for, and see this one right here. And interesting, watch this. It goes from 1/1000th of a second. Same thing, and then it bumps it up to 12/50th. So it kind of knew what was going on, which is really cool. Another cool shot. It froze the action. And as you can see, it knows what to do with the shutter speed. It didn't up the ISO, which it should have done. But at least it froze the action, and we can work with the rest by lightening it up. That was probably more examples than you needed to see, but now you understand why you should not let the camera decide the settings when you're shooting sports photography specifically. Now, yes, the Sony a6000 did a much better job than the D7200, and I was a little surprised at that. But again, you really need to learn how to take control of your camera and shoot in manual as much as possible so that you can control the action. Maybe you do want a little motion blur. Maybe you want everything just so crisp and clear that it's just frozen perfectly. Well, you need to learn how to do that stuff, and you can learn that here on my channel. My question to everybody out there is, are you shooting in auto mode? Or have you moved on to shooting in manual and taking control of your images? Leave your answer in the comments. Once again, thanks for joining me, and don't forget to check out sportsphoto101.com, and you can find me on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, and maybe soon TikTok. Gotten turned on to TikTok. It's pretty cool. All right, everybody, have a great day out there, and don't forget, get out and shoot.